What's up, everyone? Julia here.
And Trent.
And we've just come from a screening of...
Captain Marvel. Marvel?
Marvel?
No, Marvel.
No, Marvel.
Just Marvel. Carol Danvers, starring Brie Larson, the latest movie in the MCU franchise from Disney. Does it fly higher, further, and faster, like we have been oh so toted and pushed down our throats? Or is it kind of just...
Fun.
Sitting in the stratosphere?
All down.
Yeah. Does it crash land?
Does it crash land?
Does it crash land? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we go any further, it is a spoiler-free review, so you are safe from any spoilers. We'll try very, very hard not to say anything, and we'll be vague. We'll be saving that for other videos that are going up virtually straight after. So you're safe in this one, but check out our other videos if you do want spoilers, but you have been warned that there's none in here. So, as always, welcome
to the Fortress.
Now, Captain Marvel sees Vers, an elite Kree warrior who's sent on a mission to find the nefarious Skrulls who have infiltrated a planet. Things go awry, things don't go according to plan, she crash lands on Earth, amnesiac, doesn't have any clue of her memories, and bumps into our good friend, the one-eyed, who has two eyes in this film, Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, and we learn a lot of secrets along the way, and we get to discover more of Vers, or as we soon to know, Carol Danvers' history. Now, that's a very simple synopsis for a lot of potentially spoilerific things.
Yes.
The thing that we need to ask ourselves with this is, did we enjoy it? There's been a lot of negative press around it going in.
Going in, this hasn't had the most positive press to begin with.
I'm gonna come out and say straight away, I did enjoy this.
I am surprised at how much I actually did end up enjoying this.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I was very hesitant when Brie got cast, and this goes way back before all this stuff with her and the media happened.
Yeah,
that's been blown way out of proportion. I was very hesitant of, firstly, the Captain Marvel movie being announced, based on my love of Miss Marvel, and Brie being cast. I think they do overall a fantastic job bringing this character to life on the big screen. What did you enjoy about it?
I actually really enjoyed the storyline aspect. Now, going into this, I do know a little bit more of the history of Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel, and Captain Marvel.
Oh, you've watched my video.
I watched someone's video. So the things that were changed did kind of get me a little bit going, I really wish they didn't do that. But then I kept on thinking it as a come at this from a movie point of view.
Come at this from a casual fan.
Casual fan.
Yeah.
Don't have your own biases in it. And I was like, this is actually quite good.
That was
the storyline in it flowed. You followed it. It had its twists and turns. It had its betrayal. And you're like, sweet.
There are a lot of key elements that were harkening back to her origin, some key characters, some key developments. I almost say Kree.
Kree.
It is a very... The plot actually does do the movie justice, which was something I was very worried about because they were missing those essential elements such as Rogue sapping her powers, her mind rape, which is one of the darker parts, and essentially they didn't really allude to her upbringing where her father beats her, but they had the core origin from Marvel Superheroes 13 onwards to the Miss Marvel series there.
Yes.
The key characters were there, which is good. I enjoyed it. It wasn't dumbed down too much. There was a lot of exposition early on in the first 40 minutes or so.
In the first 40 minutes, there definitely was a little bit more exposition, but then think back to kind of the origin stories of Iron Man and Captain America as well. You did get a little bit of exposition heavy in there as well.
Yes.
So as much as...
I would say more Doctor Strange than those two, because that's
Doctor
more
Strange,
lore-based.
definitely, yes.
And Thor.
But it wasn't shoved down our throats aspect.
No, we'll get down to shoving things down our throats very soon. Phrasing. The lore thing is a very complex concept to juggle because you have to cater for new fans who don't know anything about the character, and a lot of people will see this because they want to know how she ties into Endgame.
Exactly.
They did it very well. It was quite dense and heavy. A lot of people aren't going to remember what the Kree is, what the Supreme Intelligence represents, that it's an artificial intelligence, that they won't care so much about the politics of Hala or the politics of the Skrulls
I think they will remember what the Supreme Intelligence is because they did keep on looping back to that.
But why? They didn't. They didn't
Oh,
go
the why-
in. They didn't
the
go
why
into
wasn't
why the supreme intelligence
The
exists.
why
It was
wasn't
just that
there.
this is
but,
it.
But that's what I think. I think it's this supreme intelligence. It's going to come back to that. Oh, I've heard that before,
Yes.
and it's going to link back in that way hopefully in later Marvel movies.
Yes, but there are a lot of things they took a lot of time to focus on the politics of Hala and the war with the Skrulls, which is great. It's integral. The Kree Skrull War is one of the best comic books you can actually read, and Secret Invasion. There's a lot of those elements there, but it is delivered in a way that's like spoon-fed.
Yes,
It's spoon-fed to the audience. Comic fans will appreciate it. I don't think the casual fans going in will care so much. That's my take on it. But that's just me.
yeah. What did you enjoy about it? What was one of the stands out for you?
And good segue. I was about to lead
you.
into it. The character relationships. Actually, I really enjoyed it, and I will be first to swallow my pride and say I did not hate Brie Larson in this role.
Yeah, I will too.
She actually suits the arrogance and stubbornness
Yes,
of
of
Carol
Carol.
really well, and I just don't think she was acting half the time. I just think she's
I
that
just
much
think
of a
she was being her.
yeah. But
And
You go.
on a comment on one of the first things that came out with the first trailers was can we just see a smile?
it makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of
All
sense.
those questions are answered and
All those
addressed.
questions are answered and addressed in this,
Yeah.
and there is a throwaway line by a secondary character, and you just think, ooh.
Yeah, was that a dig at the fans? Was that a reshoot dig?
Ooh, was that a reshoot dig?
Yeah.
It was actually, I actually really enjoyed that and had a little giggle to myself.
But a lot of the things, there were a lot of concepts in there that they made sense and they explained. Carol she has those troubles in the comics. She's very stubborn, very arrogant, very headstrong, and
Very cocky.
fight first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
But she has that compassion. You get to see all those kinds of emotions flow through Brie.
Yes.
That's not to say she's without her faults,
Oh,
which
Yeah.
we'll get into shortly. But for me, the best part was the relationships. The banter between her and Fury, Samuel L. Jackson and Brie Larson, they had a great rapport. You could see that. You've seen that in the interviews they've done after the movie. They have a really good rapport. Phil Coulson, Clark Gregg, he was there as a very, very minor secondary character, kind of just to tie everything
but
to
it
the
was still
phase
good.
one. Still good.
It's still good.
A surprise for me was Ben Mendelsohn's Talos.
Yes.
I did not like him at first. Then I grew to like him as the movie went on. Even
See-
though the prosthetics were kind of muffling his voice a bit.
See, I had the moment where I was like, oh, okay, interesting villain. I like this. I grew to hate him at one point, where is when I asked you and I had to double check who the actor was. And then I started reliking the character again.
Yep.
I went through that kind of stage instead.
Yes, I did not like him to begin with, and that was more on portrayal, not on acting ability. Just the way Talos was being portrayed. We learnt very early on, which I'm sure will give cinema goers a big hint as to what developments are going to happen, that he is the villain. That's not happened in Marvel movies unless there's a big
Yes.
twist involved or something like that. We learn very early on that he's the villain in a way that, in a time frame that doesn't really make sense, but that's a different complaint altogether. He grew into the role, had some really good banter with Fury, really good banter with Carol.
Really good banter in general with other
Yeah,
cast members as well. It was an all-round good character.
it was, and the movie was actually let down mostly by the supporting cast. Lee Pace was once again relegated to a very minor character as Ronan the Accuser.
And that was just weird.
That was weird. It's like he got a mind erection at one point.
Yeah.
There was
I'm
a really
pretty
big
sure
point.
He got
just
turned on at
he
one
splooshed
point.
at one point because he gave this really
This
You'll
weird
see the
look.
scene.
Weird look, and you're like, Ronan doesn't do that.
Yeah. Well, he's so sporadic in there. You'll know the scene as soon as you see it. It's like a tasty. Yeah, really weird. Lashana Lynch as Maria Lambeau, Carol's best friend.
That was neither here.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed.
didn't buy it.
I didn't buy it either, and that was such a sad thing because
They were touting that this was such a special and unique relationship because it's not a love story and it's so strong.
Strong, but I didn't get that. I
No.
kind of just felt like this is a girl you've seen on weekends that you went to school with, and then you've grown apart, and then you catch up with each other every other month.
Yeah.
Oh, hugs.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it.
I actually liked I liked Monica
I
more.
loved the kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Monica was fantastic.
Yeah.
That kid was awesome.
Yeah, and they're already hinting that, for anyone who doesn't know, Monica Rambeau is Photon and the successor to Captain Marvel as well. So they're building her up to possibly form these young Avengers that they want to, along with Cassie.
Hopefully, because that
Cassie
chick,
Lang.
that little...
She was really, really good. Jimon Hunso as Korath, once again relegated to a couple of scenes. But for me, everyone's saying Goose the cat was the star of the movie. And they were touting that. Fun character. Fun. If you don't know what happens with the cat, do a little research. It will be...
You find out.
You'll find out very, very...
Listen to our next video.
Yeah, very easily. But for me, it was Jude Law.
Yes.
I loved Jude Law.
Jude Law in this was actually really good.
Yeah,
Coming
loved him.
coming off the Dumbledore aspect and that train wreck, I really enjoyed him in this. He had a lot of character development, and there were just points and times where you believed him, and there was what he was spouting, and then other stuff where you're just like, so cool.
I liked it a lot.
But the main thing that my biggest gripe with this movie, soundtrack.
Oh, it's shocking.
Oh my God, it was absolutely shocking. So this is meant to be set in 1995. You do not get that vibe from the music. We are given
No
doubt. Courtney Love.
Hole.
We're given just music that's late 90s, early 2000s, and it put me off because I'm like, play the stuff from early 90s or even late 80s. Get me into the mood and the
They did have some
They did have a few, and they were very good and very well placed. Some of the other music, though, as soon as it started, I wanted to just sigh very, very loudly.
Actually,
because it was so
on the nose.
It
was on the nose.
So on the nose.
Yeah. For what was going on and what they were touting, it was on the nose.
It was very on the nose.
Speaking on the whole feminism debacle with this movie, there wasn't much of it.
No.
Unless you're specifically looking for minute phrasing, minute things, you will be noticing it. But if you're just going and enjoying it, watching it
for what it is, you're not going
to notice. It's not forced upon you like people are making out.
No.
There are some on the nose remarks like "stop telling me what to do," talking down to a character. There are some of those things, but you had that with Wonder Woman. It's the exact same thing.
The exact same.
I think it's all been blown out of proportion. Please, and I will implore you, if you do go to see it, don't judge based on what other people are saying. Don't even judge what we're saying. Just go in with your own mindset, ready to possibly enjoy or possibly dislike the film. Take it for what it is. And ignore all the other stuff going on outside, social stuff.
And I think that's what we went into this movie doing. We tried our best to just ignore everything we've heard before, try and get over our dislike of Brie as an actress, and to focus on the movie as a movie. And as a movie, it's really well done.
It is really well done. It's fun. It's a fun movie. Brie is one of the big stars, but she's also one of the big problems. She's quite static. A lot of poses. A lot of poses.
A lot of power poses.
Yeah, power poses when they don't need to happen.
Yeah.
To me, she was unable to soften a lot. She was always... It always looked forced.
Rigid. It was very rigid to me in moments where, either in realization moments or in softer moments she was having with Nick or her best friend, it still just felt like I was kind of like, are you going to cry? Are you going to change your facial expression?
It was like she was proud.
Yes,
always proud.
Yes, there were moments where I'm like, are you proud you're being told this?
Yeah.
I would rather have someone just that...
Well, she's meant to be an amnesiac.
Yeah, and I had to... And that's
She wasn't acting like an amnesiac.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I would perceive an amnesiac.
How I would perceive it as well. I constantly had to keep on reminding myself...
Arrogant.
You've had...
Trauma.
Severe trauma.
You don't know who you are. You're having nightmares.
You have someone telling you what you were and how you were acting. You're having nightmares about this. And then you've been fed other information as well, and you're being
very snarky, very arrogant.
You're being very arrogant for someone who's being told different. And you're just sitting there going, there was something about the way she portrayed the character that
was off-putting at times, but overall she did a great job. The visual effects for the most part were good in the final scene.
Final fight scene was just
Same as Black
painful.
Panther, terrible in the final scene, and it was actually more obvious than in Panther.
Very obvious.
There was one scene where she's flying up into space, and it actually looked it was the first thing I noticed. I was looking at her face because she didn't have the mask, like the air bubble mask at this point. I was looking at the face and I thought, this looks exactly like a video game. It looks exactly like what I see in Final Fantasy. Well, it did. It didn't look natural, and I was just like, oh, that's really off-putting.
See, one of mine was when one of the characters was thrown across the landscape, and it just looked like someone had thrown a CGI ragdoll.
Yeah,
and
there
it
was
looked bad.
there was a lot of it, and which is a shame because it was glaringly obvious. And I mean, you don't go into a movie looking to pick out CGI points, but it was just blatant.
It was that after a whole movie of really good CGI with the suit, with the mask, with the airplanes, with the spaceships, with the prosthetics. And then just that in that last scene, you're just like, oh, that's noticeable.
Yeah, well, you had Samuel L. Jackson and Clark Gregg de-aged.
Yes.
You had some great transformation scenes with the Skrulls. Seeing their transformations, it's like they actually kind of exploded.
I'm really glad they showed that transformation because that was beautiful.
It was good.
Disgustingly beautiful.
It was good. The only other noticeable thing was that they made Samuel L. Jackson like a really fit younger person, and he's running like
a 70-year-old.
like a 70-year-old. That was the only other thing, and you couldn't pick at the de-aging. They did such a great job. The costuming, really good for the costume. Like, her suit looked amazing on screen, and I completely understand why they went for this version and got this version all prepared because they've had this movie in development for ages.
After seeing the suit on the big screen, I can completely see why they didn't do Miss Marvel, as disappointed as I am in it.
Yes, but it stands out. It pops. The green, her original green
the
Kree suit,
is
fantastic. And same with Jude Law's suit. He looks really good in that suit.
Really good in that suit.
Yeah,
Hi, Jude Law.
You made that sound when he first appeared as well.
Yeah.
And when it changes to the red, gold, and blue, the gold stands out amazingly. It looks beautiful. I really enjoyed the movie overall.
So overall, what would you give it out of 10?
There were some pacing issues. The CGI was a bit bad. I did enjoy it. The plot was fine. There were some changes that irked me a bit. I'd give it a 7.
7?
Actually, no. No, sorry. I'll give it an 8.
Oh, okay.
I would give it an 8. I actually was really engaged and focused on it a lot.
You were. Yeah.
And I barely blinked. It went by like that. It didn't feel like it was long.
Popcorn.
No, I didn't.
I'm very, very disappointed.
No, and as a comic fan, I think it's one of those things where you hear all the lore and you wait to see. They spaced out a lot of elements in the movie quite well. So they discussed the Kree Skrull War. You learnt all these different things, and then you got more information, and you were waiting for things to happen, and things happened. Like, if you know the characters that they're playing, you're thinking something's got to happen here.
Yeah.
And then there's a payoff, or there's something that kind of harkens back to what the character's like, and I really enjoyed it. They did it quite well. Does it break the mold? No, it's the traditional Marvel mold, where you've got the character growth, you've got the twist that happens to the character, and then the final fight. It's nothing we haven't seen before. It's not groundbreaking, but I got the same joy from this that I got from the Phase 1 movies, which have been very difficult to replicate unless it's been something groundbreaking like Doctor Strange or Black Panther.
Yeah.
So for me, that grants it an 8.
Okay.
What about you?
The music did arc me. The CGI got me towards the end, but Brie Larson did do better than what I expected. A lot of the plot was really entertaining, and I really did enjoy that. Origins was a little bit hard for me at one point to deal with, but we'll talk about that in our other video. I'm going to give it a solid 7.5.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. There are things that could have been improved, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
I left happy.
I left very happy, and I did not think I was going to.
Yep.
I went in open-minded, and I went in thinking I'm going to hate this as well.
Yes.
Like, until we got into the film, I thought I'm going to hate this.
I didn't get bored.
Yeah.
7.5 solidly.
Yep. It's a very solid entry into the MCU, and it sets up Endgame fantastically.
It does.
So yeah, look for our other videos that explain that if you want to know, because I know the comics is.
He does.
And it's good. So, yeah, just a little humble brag. But anyway,
brag.
I'm Trent.
I'm Julia.
Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, tell your friends about us, share it around. And as always,
You're watching
The Fortress.